These. Really? Seriously? I hate these fat fucking things. No!
My brother, who always hated my success, ruined my marriage by sleeping with my wife and getting her pregnant. Her parents cut him out of their $8 million inheritance. He begged me to take him back. This might be a long rant, but I'm still in shock over everything that's happened, and I really need to get it off my chest.
He's also a bastard.
So fucked up. Let me start with the fact that my brother and I always had a tricky bond. It took me a while to realize that he didn't like me, and very soon that dislike turned into pure hatred. I never knew what exactly was it that I had done. I hated my guts. I don't know where it came from, but he wouldn't let a single moment go to waste where he could say stuff like I was spineless, and that I was pretending to be better than him. The truth is, I just worked hard and tried to make something of myself. Our parents weren't wealthy, but they did their best to provide for us. They always encouraged us to pursue our dreams and work hard, but my brother never seemed to take that advice on me. He named my baby after my grandmother instead of my milk, so she had a complete meltdown and got escorted out by hospital security, then violated a restraining order and got arrested, which made Phil leave. I gave birth to my first child, a baby girl, just 2 weeks ago. My husband and I decided to my grandmother. means the world to me. MIL, Linda had been heavily hinting throughout my pregnancy that we should name the baby after her. She doesn't have any daughters of her own. My husband is one of 2 sons, and she kept talking about how her mother named all her daughters after her grandmothers as a family tradition. We never actually agreed to this. In fact, I never been like a private settled on her. Purposely did not. Came to visit us the next day after we introduced her to baby. At first, she just said it like disappointed to me anyway. We expected her to maybe be a bit hurt or surprised that we didn't use her name. We were not prepared for what happened next. After a few silent seconds, she started asking why we didn't use her name as either the first or the second. My husband gently explained that our daughter's name was chosen Evelyn months ago. That's when Mill's expression changed dramatically. She began raising her voice, saying that we had promised to name the baby Evelyn. She had heard what she expected. Never agreed. Calmly told her that I understood she wanted the baby named after her. We never made that promise. I said we were sorry she was disappointed, but the name was our choice of the parents. She lost her name, so I screamed when I scolded her. She had said that name as happened. She was like, it was honestly terrible. This is how she yelled that I'd done this in and that my grandmother was alive. Stop. She didn't believe her. She couldn't calm down. Instead of leaving, she lunged toward me as if she was trying to grab the baby or confront me. Honestly not sure which. That's when hospital security was called by the nurse who had been standing outside. It all happened so fast. 2 security guards rushed in and basically pulled my Mill back. She was screaming at us the entire time as they dragged her out down the hall. I was shaking in tears, and my baby was crying from all the help. The guards had to escort her out, turning toward her around. I later heard from the nurse that Mill actually got escorted all the way out of the hospital because she refused to calm down and kept shouting at them already. My husband went after them at first, but then returned and quickly once she was gone. I was horrified. Calls and texts from my husband's side of the family. Apparently, Bill has been telling everyone that I deliberately excluded her and broke the family tradition, and that I caused her to have a panic attack in the hospital like me. A few other witnesses are actually saying we should have at least used those as a middle name. So I should have let Bill know permission. They're both furious and deeply shaken by the family. Just as angry as well, the family seemed to think we lost this growth by now. It's very clear. Expected reaction to the service was. His name is also quite name is like very much. That's the son. She assumed her daughter would carry her name without saying so I asked what her name was. Your choice of name. 17. Sorry. She had no right to expect her name. In fact, she caused the scene so bad. Still shaking. Baby is fine. At the time, she was wailing for the noise. But once things calmed down, I was able to soothe her. I'm physically recovering well from the birth, but emotionally, I'm pretty rapid. My husband and I are just focusing on keeping things calm and calm. It's really quite hard. It's like such a difference to my life. Never thought about that. Still, because she is one. Never imagine you're helping back mother and all this. How is it helping? My husband has been amazing through all of this. He absolutely backed me up when I told his mom to leave when she started screaming. He was just as shocked and worried as I was. He did chase after her initially, so he wouldn't take her out. She was just screaming, not listening. So he came back pretty quickly. At home, he's been the one answering most of the calls from relatives. He's made the baby decision about her daughter's name. Mom's name was unacceptable. He's pretty devastated that his mother put us through this unfortunate
Bearer of the curse, long have I awaited one such as you. One who can set me free, bearer of the curse.
First off,
It was my own. The ancient dragon has watched over the world for. Take this.
census was different.
Do not resist.
It's been crazy since the original post. I didn't get a chance to respond to her, but I did read her reply to those. What's happened? The day after I posted, but they'll actually send me a business apology. Well, not a problem. She said she was sorry for getting so emotional on the hospital, and needed to be justified by saying she was blindsided by her. She wrote that she had been dreaming that her granddaughter named after decades, and she overreacted because she was heartbroken. She did not actually admit that what she did was wrong, and she apologized for yelling her serious. It was mostly about how she felt. She even said that I didn't understand why I was so upset, and I forgave her for that I spoke to her when I was in distress. Yes, she forgives us. That part really rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like a very big, self-serving apology. She was not. My father and my health. It's not wrong. He was out of town for work when I back in the day, but he heard about it when I left that one. She still called my husband and sounded extremely embarrassed and apologetic on that first attempt. However, he also was urging my husband to please be understanding. She was just emotional and excited. It's clear he's in a tough spot. He told me to believe me, what she did was beyond the pale. Now, here's the really scary part. I heard when my daughter was young, the security dragged her out of my hospital. At the time, everything was chaotic and I could hear her midst screaming. My husband hadn't told me immediately in the afternoon because I was already so distraught. This week he sat me down and told me everything. Apparently, as the guards were moving her away, she started screaming threats to Brenda. She was yelling things like, "That bitch is going to bed. You'll suffer the consequences for this." She also shrieked, "You can't keep my granddaughter." I'll make sure you remember this. To say I was horrified would be an understatement. I had no idea she had been screaming actual threats against me at the time. I was in shock when my husband told me. He said he didn't want to tell me what I was
Alright.
because it would stress me out more while I was still in the hospital bed. But now that I'm stronger, he wanted me to know the full extent of what she said. I'm honestly really grateful to me, because hearing that while I was freshly postpartum might have sent me into a panic attack. Even now, it's chilling. She basically vowed to make me suffer for not bending to her will. I don't know what she said exactly by consequences, just that phrasing is threatening. Besides, take this extremely seriously for our safety and safety. My husband was absolutely furious all the time, hearing his mother's words come out of his own mouth as well. He went to the front door without breaking my phone, told her phone, and told her to hear what she said. No, she did not deny it. She wrote back. This consequences of disrespect. He hung up on her before it escalated further. That call was me. Until some very serious pain occurred. Writing down the details of what happened in the hospital while it's still fresh and so long. Police reports since aside from the hospital outburst, she hasn't tried to contact his friend again. One takes apology aside. But knowing she said those things and still feels that way makes us very paranoid. Phil is aware of what she's screaming. And he has been trying to play mediator a bit. He keeps saying she didn't mean it, but she just felt crazy. I told him bluntly that whether she meant it or not, I consider it a threat and I have to protect my baby and myself. He said he understood, but also that Mel is apparently a wreck right now, crying and saying we're going to keep her granddaughter away forever. As far as I'm concerned, it's on Mel for behaving the way she did. For now, we're just staying in contact and keeping our correspondence. We also informed the hospital to put Mel on the list of people not allowed to visit in case she tried to come back, just in case. There are a couple days postpartum. I'm not sure what our next steps are, but we're considering speaking to the lawyer to see what can be done if she puts this up and somehow ensure she doesn't cause more trouble. It's really sad that it's come to this. I'll update again if there are any major developments, but for now we are safe and focusing on our baby. Thank you again for all the supportive comments and advice. Please yourselves during this mess. I'm so sorry to be doing this. We might be not doing everything and considering legal action. actually do something for us. So, that's the best of it. Still siding with her, but realizing she's wrong. It is too initial for saying, just give her the middle name. Keep the peace and quiet down the opposite. What's words to my husband did tell his brother and father. His brother is the son of as for my mother, I sit and protect both of her also seems really embarrassing. We try to between those things. It's hard to tell. At the same time, as a child, sorry about that, and she was way out of line. Update 2. About a month has passed, and we decided to take legal action. We obtained a restraining order against my mill, effective for 1 year. That's what the judge would grant. It bars Mill from contacting us from coming here, my husband, or our baby. The judge had no issue granting. My Phil, she was absolutely living when it happened. Pretty much expected the reaction. The important is seems to believe it's justice. Since my Phil is still in touch with us and he comes by once a week to visit. He made it clear he has to come alone and not share any information with Phil, and he's respected those rules so far. The only problem is that he keeps trying to get us to forgive and forget. Nearly every visit, he'll gently suggest that maybe we could sit down with Phil and that she's learned the lesson now. My husband and I shut that down every time. We've told him plainly that we're not ready, and may never be. To be honest, and pushing us is only going to strain our relationship. He usually backs off when we reiterate that, but I can tell he's really torn up about the whole situation. I do feel bad for Phil. He's been married to Mel for 35 years and is clearly in a tough spot, trying to keep the peace. He insists she's not a bad person, just emotional, and that this behavior was totally out of character. Still, he stood firm that it doesn't excuse what she did. Or she meant to her not. She's in therapy or something. We haven't heard about it, and I feel like Phil would mention it if she was. We certainly haven't received any kind of genuine. The only communication is that one text was we are definitely staying cautious. Fred and Alf have been advised to know that just because it's quiet now doesn't mean we let our guard down. Trust me, the moment Bill does anything shady, we'll be ready to call the police. I honestly hope she just stays away and maybe uses this time to reflect. But I'm not holding my breath on that. Comment 2. Phil isn't denial. I get that it's his wife of decades, but come on. He saw what she did, or at least knows, and he still thinks this could just be smoothed over with an apology. I hope he isn't giving her info about the human thing. You mentioned you told him not to, but do you trust that? I'd be a bit wary that he might unintentionally slip up. They share basic photos or updates with him because he feels bad for them. Well, that's a fair concern. We have talked about boundaries. We told him explicitly, not want to sharing information about us with the baby. Focus. You know the baby smiled for the first time today, so it's nothing. Can you read this any understood? Well, I have 100% trust that not sharing anything. I'll admit, I have some. Small step, you percent. And back. thought trusted ones. He genuinely wants to change. He wants to care about it. See, fingers crossed. Another scary episode. But you know, it's been about 4 minutes of time. Straight down the road. I thought maybe she would finally back off, at least for the time being. Unfortunately, a few nights ago, finally, straight down the road. Full screen inside. Give me my grandmother. She was young. Can't keep her away from me. He shouted for me to take the baby behind, so I grabbed her daughter and my phone and locked his doors. I went home straight away. He was screaming that we had no right to keep her from the grandmother. I was trying to explain the situation to the 911 dispatcher. Absolutely terrified of the traffic. I suddenly heard the sound of what I was at. The discoveries were grabs and box of our yard was rolling. One had cracked the glass panel of our front door. I heard her yell, "Stop." She screamed back as we ran. It felt like forever. It was probably about 30 minutes before we were spot. I saw the flashing of the lights pull up. A tall shriek that she went in rage and tried to move. By the time I dared to come out, was down. Needless to say, I never slept that night. The following day, I flew Eagle for a couple minutes. It was to talk about what happened. He showed up looking absolutely distraught, like he hadn't slept either. I said, "Man, I thought about it. So sorry for ever doubting us and downplaying her. He admitted that I was wrong. Never explained it. She told me she was moving out from the property. He found out that's when she wanted to be jailed. He didn't make a single excuse for her this time. He said he's ashamed of her. He also promised he will respect whatever decision we make going forward. He told us he won't ask us to forgive her if ever see the name of the woman. He promised that she would be a good one. It was an emotional conversation. As we told his dad we were sorry for him, he said our first priority was to protect our child. They ended up hugging him with tears. It was heartbreaking to see a family ripped apart. As of now, Bill is out on bail. He intends to press charges with a restraining order violation of vandalism. He had no dates. We plan to cooperate with the authorities. We have no intention of dropping anything. Given how blatantly she violated the order, it should be hard against. I'm not sure what's next in the legal front. Bill has been very supportive since the incident. He's been checking on us and helped board on the broken roadways. It's a welcome change in his attitude, though it's sad that it took such a crisis for him to fully accept reality. I'll post a final update after the legal side is resolved. Hoping the next update will bring some closure to this nightmare. How that really seemed like. How is he doing? I feel for him. Losing a partner he thought he had. Has he said anything about what he plans to do regarding Bill? Is he staying with her or what? Not reply. It's really shaken up her. This is a man who by all accounts had a stable, normal marriage for decades, and suddenly his wife is acting like a different person. From our conversations, I gathered he's struggling with a mix of anger and guilt, like wondering if he could be prevented this sort of thing. As for what he plans to do, he hasn't gone into great detail and I haven't thought. He did mention that he told her to seek help when he can't see a way forward together. So they're still living in the same house as of now, but he implied they're not really speaking much at the moment. I imagine this might lead to some kind of separation if she doesn't drastically change. He said to us, "I can't believe the woman I love did this. I don't know how to even look at him right now." It was heavy. I'm letting him down that part and just making sure he knows we're not blaming him for her actions. I do worry about it. It's got other family supporting him too. It's been a while. We finally have some the legal process wrapped up last week. We didn't get to testify because no one pleaded guilty to the charges of violating the restraining order in the judge sentenced her to 11 hours of community service and a hefty fine of several $1,000s. There's no jail time, likely since it was a first offense and she took a plea deal, but she's on probation for a year and must attend anger management counseling. The restraining order remains in effect and can be extended immediately. We haven't seen or heard from her at all since the moment, and she didn't contest anything. bigger family news, my Phil is now separated from Helen. We actually packed our bags and made her leave the house. They're taking a break after 35 years of marriage. Phil told my husband he can't even look at her and needs time apart to see them every day.
No!
It was a baby, 6 years from now. I don't know if they're married or spot, but Phil seems pretty firm in his decision. It's sad that it came to this, but I completely understand why he didn't. As for us, we're doing okay. Our baby daughter is healthy and blissfully unaware of all this drama. We're relieved this chapter is closed. We're staying cautious. We even added extra home security, but hopeful that Phil will stay away and comply with the law. Phil continues to visit regularly to see his granddaughter and has been very supportive. We're grateful we can maintain our relationship with him despite everything that happened. This whole ordeal has been tough, but at least there were real consequences for Tim's actions. Thank you to everyone here who offered advice and support to him. We can finally move forward and raise our daughter boys. Ellen busted at my baby shower and she insulted me. I tried to date my baby, but ended up getting arrested after leaving the scene. I'm 29 after marrying my wonderful friend Gary and we're pregnant with our first child. It's been a super exciting journey so far. Gary and I have been together for a long time and got married 4 years ago. We've been trying to get pregnant since last year. This was 6 months ago. We have navigated the ups and downs of life side by side. The news of little Uncle Wayne has added a whole bunch of happiness to my relationship. Every day brings us a bit closer to meeting our little nugget, and we can't wait. For me, pregnancy has been a roller coaster of feelings. Through finding out those sweet moments when you feel your baby start moving your stomach. Gary has been my rock throughout this. He's been to every doctor's appointment. We've parenting books together, and he's even helped me set up a cute nursery for our soon-to-arrive baby. During full baby mode now, talking about names, decorating the nursery, and making plans for the future. Gary is super excited to be dad. It's all in sharing. We're facing the challenges and fun parts of the pregnancy. Which we get ready to be home. It's back. We decided it was time to share the excitement. Share the milestone. Time after milestone. We're spreading the word. Invited all the parents, close family, and friends for lunch. They are expecting she saw me and I was being pregnant. She completely understood that. Secret expressed my excitement. Here as well. Had a completely different reaction. Instead of sharing it, she reacted on her pregnancy. She felt that specifically that she was it's not a fantastic decision. She was engaged with this week after the shadow. As the tension escalated, I used to bring it. I decided to step out and have myself. Most my distress became with me until the moment with her. As the night came to an end, I made a deliberate point of saying goodbye to me last after observing the disappointing stares from my husband, sister, and parents. The entire day, she barely exchanged a look at my own. Later, my husband walked up to the car, and they ended up having a meeting on it. I could hear clearly standing. I took the opportunity to vent her complaints about it, and the escalated the strained situation. Thankfully, yes, I went to parents. Now, the asked his pregnancy. This is our this decision we made together. message read, "I must say, I am deeply disappointed in you. You knowingly kept a significant piece of information from me that I find absolutely unforgivable. I can't believe you would rob me of the joy of learning about my grandchild from the very beginning. This is the family should operate, and I find it disrespectful and hurtful. Instead of apologizing to me for your premature action, you are now causing me to mind my son. Shame on you." Words come from me, and I cannot feel a mix of anger and hurt. I showed the message to Gary, and he was beyond pissed. He couldn't fathom why his mother would react so negatively and place the blame squarely on me. Gary decided to call me. The message says it might distress me further. He even went as far as to threaten to cut her off if this behavior continued. Gary's words and his angry tone seemed to have an impact on Barbara. Possibly cut off. She changed her tune. Instead of acknowledging her own role in the conflict, the solution she claimed was light as we allowed her to throw us a baby shower. As sudden turn of events left us both surprised and skeptical about what it was. She continued to plead how nothing could bring her more joy than to throw a grand celebration for me and the grandchild for she. Skeptical of the sudden change of rules. Barbara's sudden change of heart seemed more like a tactic than taking control of the silver confidence rather than genuine intent and investigation. Despite my reservations, Gary was one to find a middle ground and entertained the idea of accepting her offers. I expressed my concerns to Gary, stressing that accepting her might be fully leave her own need for acceptance. My perspective of my mother became a shower. Rust event Benson's creative environment make the run. I begrudgingly agreed with Gary Moore, his mother, to go ahead with the planning for my baby shower. She was overjoyed and expressed her gratitude for allowing her to take charge. Despite entrusting her with the responsibility, I had assumed there would be something else. She would see my influence in the baby shower. The event still a month away. I anticipated more detailed planning than what was coming. However, to my dismay, I discovered that my mother all the decorations, games, and plan activities without consulting anyone, including my mother reached out to her to discuss the baby shower. I was simply informed that everything had been decided and that it would be a surprise for me. The lack of communication and consideration left me feeling disheartened and frustrated, as the event meant to celebrate a joyous occasion was now being shaped in regard to my purpose. The shower. The air was filled with a mix of excitement and tension. I arrived at the venue and I was surrounded by my close friends who were eager to celebrate the upcoming arrival of me. As I walked in, I couldn't help but notice the greatest decoration of my love. The sweet brown and beige balloons adorned every corner, making the game entirely. Absolutely hated the decorations like the sky could have that safari theme. We had a magic song passed on and all of them a shout. My husband making pictures with Mark. Everyone couldn't understand why she would choose to display my baby picture during my baby shower. Another bitter question. She laughed off, saying that she expected our baby to look exactly like my husband, and she was very proud of how cute my husband was as a child, and she wanted to display it for everyone. I stared at her, trying to comprehend if she had actually lost her mind. It was clear that she was determined to make the day more about her own experiences. Decisively removing it from its proper display. He fell silent, and all eyes turned toward my mother as she carried away the truthful display that overshadowed the celebration. I couldn't help but feel a surge of gratitude toward my mother for her unwavering support. When Bill, who was busy talking to other guests, looked in horror watching my mother throw the banner into the dustbin. In a disapproving tone, she asked, "What do you think you're doing?" That banner was a special touch to celebrate the baby and the family. My mother, undeterred by the disapproval, responded with a firm yet authoritative voice. "This celebration is about my daughter and the baby, not a showcase of her personal." Guests around them were drawn to this unexpected confrontation. My Bill, sensing the attention shift, tried to regain control of the situation. Well, I thought it would be nice for everyone to know who was responsible for this beautiful event. As I was responsible for throwing this lovely event, I wanted everyone to see how cute Gary was as a child, she retorted, attempting to mask her importance. Then they turned. Let's not. Baby shower and other black together were attempting to steal the spotlight. Watched as the exchange unfolded, guests glancing at each other in discomfort. My Bill, realizing that her attempt at dictating the narrative had backfired, retreated with a forced smile and returned to her conversations with other guests. The baby shower continued after that, with me trying my best to focus on the positive energy of my friends and family despite the tension that was lingering around my bed. I thought there would be no other surprises when my Bill this evening. But for the baby shower, there was nothing that I could tell her anymore. We played various party games and the guests seemed slowly started to enjoy themselves. Then it was time for the gift opening session, and I was pleasantly surprised by everyone's thoughtful gift for my baby. However, my anticipation turned into gloom as my mother-in-law handed me a conspicuously large gift box with an exaggerated grin on her face. And I felt a mixture of embarrassment and frustration. Right? Yes, exchanged awkwardnesses, and sure enough, reacted as an expected turn. It attempted to ease the tension and not create a convention. A smile, thankful for causing this. All the else was encouraged her. The situation escalated further when it was time for the cake cutting ceremony. Strapped in gear to the top decorations, she made a big show of it, a blast to make everyone look at her. It was starting to get pretty annoying. She was up to that.
I saw the shabby yoga thing.
Waited for her to speak. And then announced that she had come up with the perfect name for our baby. Having been set up on the name herself, she proudly declared that the baby shocked and irritated, she assumed she had the baby rights. Instead, they were like me, explaining to my husband and I wanted to pick our baby's name together. It was a choice we wanted to make as parents. However, she insisted that she had the perfect name. If I was a good daughter-in-law, I should accept it since she had spent so much money on the baby shower. I was shocked at her sense of entitlement. I firmly stated that only my husband and I had the right to name our baby, and regardless of the cost of the baby shower, this decision was ours alone. That's when Bill started yelling at me in front of everyone, claiming I was extremely disrespectful and should be grateful for all she'd done. She went on to criticize my upbringing, insisting that I should be thanking her instead of denying her the right to make a baby. Barbara grew increasingly aggressive, pointing her fingers at my face. My mother stepped in, standing in front of me as a shield. Barbara continued to shout, asserting herself as the actual mommy of my baby since she gave birth to my husband, and it was extraordinarily frightening. The words were truly disgusting to hear. Despite my mom's attempt to stop Barbara's nasty comments, she just got angry. She kept on insulting me and said my mom did a terrible job raising me. It was clear she had too much to drink, and tried to nonsense it was pointless. The whole situation was
I knew you'd be around.
Slowly realizing the escalating situation, I decided I had to learn enough. Trying to salvage some dignity, I decided to walk out against my friends and generously brought, leaving behind the rest of my bill and got home. In her intoxicated state, snatched the gifts back from my hand and tossed them to the ground, accusing me of being ungrateful when she was hungry to her son. The tense atmosphere grew more attention, and I noticed some people starting to film this. In an effort to contain the chaos, I asked one of my close friends to politely request people to leave the back. Barbara, undeterred, continued hurling nasty accusations at me, creating a scene that no one would have anticipated when we arrived for what was supposed to be a joyous vacation. Frustration turned red. Feel extremely unsafe when you're aggressive behavior. Yeah, you read that right. I had to involve the police in my own baby shower because of my toxic bill. The officer showed up, pointing fingers at me and painting me as the mastermind behind the chaotic event. Cops, thankfully, were understanding and attempted to reason. However, being drunk, Bill resisted their efforts and even started yelling at the police, which didn't work in her favor. The situation escalated to the point where she was arrested on the spot. Left the event with my mother and close friends, all of us shaken up by the unsettling incident. Since this incident, my husband and I have been dealing with the fallout. It's on a phone means that playing the victim card and garnering support from some family members who are not present at the baby shower as they don't live in the same city. My husband, although he understands why I called the cops, thinks I took it a bit too far. He believes that I could have called him when his father was gone. So read it, later from calling the cops on my bill, my baby shower, and the actual mom of the baby. Day 1. I am overwhelmed with the response I have received since deciding to host another baby shower. I'd like to thank everyone for supporting my decision to call the cops. I have never witnessed such an aggressive reaction from my village, given that it was even assault. It's unfortunate, but the political aggression she displayed at the baby shower left me genuinely concerned about my unborn child. Since the incident, every guest who attended the baby shower has reached out to express their support. Some of them have even shared recordings of the entire problem, which I intend to show to my husband. My plan is to have a serious conversation with my husband about the future of his mother. Day 2, I showed her. I found myself sitting down for a serious conversation about the events that transpired. I explained in detail how his mother's behavior had escalated throughout the entire review, ending the pregnancy revelation of the outrageous baby shower. I described in detail the yelling, accusations, and bizarre gifts she presented. I then shared the recordings with which my husband watched, visibly horrified. He continued to seek to bring a reality check, making him confront the uncomfortable truth about his mother's actions. He started to apologize to me sincerely for underestimating the severity of the situation and acknowledged that I was right in calling the cops. I had no idea about his dad. I'm so sorry you had to go through. He expressed, his face reflecting. He admitted that he had never pretty sure he was on my side and decided to be safe, especially during pregnancy. There's no preference. We then delved into the underlying issues, discussing how his mother's need for control and validation had overshadowed what should have been a joyous occasion. Gary, grappling with the reality of his mother's actions, shared his own concerns about her behavior and acknowledged that her behavior had cost a lot. I told him that after how his mother had behaved in front of everyone, he cut all ties with me. I continued to tell him that he could have a relationship with her if he wanted, but me and our child would not be a part of her life at least until his mother went to counseling to deal with her aggressive behavior. Gary expressed that what his mother had done was beyond disgusting and was willing to cut ties with her as well. I assured him that he would not have to do any such thing, but my husband insisted that his mother dared to disrespect me and she did not have the right to leave our lives anymore. He understood that this behavior by his mother was not just about the baby shower, but might have been a culmination of long-standing issues. Yet, Gary has reassured me that personally communicate our decision with his mother, making it clear that cutting her off from our lives is entirely his choice. I have also asked her to remember that if she decides to show up unexpectedly at our doorstep and force me to accept her back in our lives, then I will be forced to call the cops on her again. Day 3. It's been a month since my last outing. Mask, me, Baker, and I can't wait to meet my child very soon as the day approaches. Since my last outing, we ceased all communication with Barbara. Gary had a conversation with his parents, and his father assured him that he would take the necessary steps to ensure that Randall understands the boundaries we've set and respects our decision. In the aftermath of cutting ties with Barbara, our lives have experienced a noticeable shift. The absence of constant drama and toxicity has brought about a newfound sense of peace and tranquility in our household. Gary and I are now in the process of preparing for the support of the city valuable his talented tongue. My parents and my close friends have been pillars of strength, offering their encouragement and understanding. Even some family members, who were initially unaware of the extent of Barbara's behavior, have come forward to express their support after witnessing the shocking events that came to shower through the videos that have now gone viral. Our journey is far from over, but this experience has strengthened our bond and highlighted the importance of facing challenges together as a united front. The decision to sever ties with Barbara was not made lightly, but it has proven to be a necessary step for our well-being. While there may be lingering challenges, we are optimistic about the positive changes this choice has brought into our lives. As we eagerly await the arrival of our little one, we are determined to build a loving and supportive family environment that prioritizes the well-being of both parents and child. I was promised to pay for my college, but refused when my golden child brother didn't get accepted to his dream college while I did. So I told everyone about it. So for context, I, 20M, have a younger brother, Jared, and he has always been treated better by my parents. He's just 10 months younger than me, but my parents decided to get us enrolled in school at the same time, so we've always been better at every single thing, academically and otherwise. I've been better grades since the beginning, and always wanted to go to Caltech and study data science, while my brother, who has been more interested in biology, would always brag about how he could grow up to become one of the pioneers of microbiology. So we moved in, it was just all part of it. It's like me. My parents were too big to in high school. I was doing really well and had a feeling that I might get accepted to Caltech when the time came around. So I started to my dad, in spite of being rich. Because my grandfather wanted him to work and pay his dues before he inherited the business, and I was just worried he might try to do something silly. However, my parents always reassured me that they had this, and when the time came, they would make sure that I would be able to go to college of my dreams without having to worry about the tuition. Even up until the last few days of my senior year, when he started once they would make sure that everything was paid and they would take care of everything for the past few years. However, I finally got my acceptance letter from Caltech. They pulled a total 180 and told me that I had nothing to pay for college because Jared had not been accepted into the college of his choice, and now they wanted me to go to the mediocre college, just so that he wouldn't feel bad about himself. To be fair, he had been aiming for Cornell. It was pretty silly of him, because his grades were definitely not up to the standard of a college like that. If I'm being honest, he had always been a very average and mediocre student. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but never even trying to get better and setting your sights so high. That's just setting yourself up for failure. That's what had happened. So the day that my parents told me about how he had been rejected from Cornell, so he had to settle for something else, and they wanted me to go to college so that he wouldn't feel like a failure, I didn't even need to think twice before shutting that down. No matter what he had been through, I had been accepted in the college of my choice, and the most that I could do for him was extend my sympathies, but I was not going to give up on my dreams for him. I might have even considered it if Jared had been good to me in any point in his life. We just never really got along. In the beginning, our parents had made sure to pit us against each other. Though I had tried to be friends with him several times, he always thought of himself as someone who was superior to me. I don't know on what basis, but he simply just believed that he was better than me or something. On top of that, he was superior to everybody else. The basis beliefs that got on my nerves, but I really couldn't. I used to fight with my parents over this. They would always try to tell me that I was older. I hated that I played to my parents. That was all that I could do. Anyway, I was asked me about people doing that. I said no, and that's when they told me that if I had done it, I was forced to go back on their word and not be since I was involved in the Saturday my mom's happiness. It was infuriating at that point. I didn't really like the way they were so they had given me false hope for 4 years, and that's the only reason I did not try to take up any jobs or any internships to earn some cash on the side. And I hadn't even spoken to anybody about student loans or whatever. And it was going to be hard. I already knew that it would be very difficult for me to work through college and pay off my own tuition. I was in a very difficult position. It was just because my parents were too selfish. They only care about Jared and not even bother to think about what would become of him. No, fighting with them did not work. I tried to beg and plead with them, but it was humiliating. Even then, they did not agree. They were very firm on what they had said and believed that I should give up on Caltech just because they thought that I should value my brother's happiness more. I did not agree with that, and I tried to tell them anything that they were asking me to do. It was not a tiny little sacrifice, but it would be giving up on my future. I would never be able to stand that. But they did not budge, and I realized that I was wasting my time talking to them pointlessly and trying to make them see sense when they had shown me very clearly that their priorities had been right from the beginning. I tried to stop myself. Yes, they know. told me that he had decided to take a gap year and was going to start applying to colleges this year again. They were trying to badmouth Jared in front of me when I asked about it and said that they were really disappointed in him and said that he was the real failure, which is another reason they wanted to make it up to me, and I was very suspicious throughout the whole thing. And towards the end of the evening, they proved me right by telling me that they had actually come to visit me with another motive in mind, and since I seemed to be having a good time, they thought that they would bring it up with me. They told me that they were in the talks with a really big investor for a deal and they were desperate to have him on board because my parents had a catering business and they were trying to get into the more high-end market. And this guy would be perfect for that since they could tie up with his event management business and do more upper-class events now for better money. They needed me because apparently they had spoken to this guy a couple of times and they were still trying to work certain things out in the days before. He had mentioned that his younger son had been trying to make me pay attention to parents and brag about me going there. And now, he had asked my parents to attend the party to bring me along because of what he was with his son, so I could maybe give him tips or guide him or something. My parents had agreed.
Yeah, Mom?
You want us to take you, Dad to take you.
I'd rather he do it. I don't feel like doing any driving, per se.
You ready? Where are you going to stay next week?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Make sure you wear something clean and everything. You know what?
When I wear something unclean,
Put some lotion on your hand.
I will.
They had put themselves in a very difficult position since they were not exactly on speaking terms with me. And the main reason that they visited me today was to make things right with me so that they could bring me along to the party in a couple of days since they were this for probably not this semester. My parents also wanted me to speak highly of them today because they're here to prepare the party. Most of this for me. My parents told me that I had spoken to my uncle and asked him to help me. But now, they were going to cover the rest of my expenses and college tuition and the company not wanting me. I just helped them out with this. So to sum it up, I was getting double the asking price, and the only condition was that I would have to lie about how great my parents were to an investor and attend the party.
Until
It didn't sound like a bad deal, to be honest, so I agreed. I had very different intentions. 3 days ago, I finally attended the party with my parents, and once we got there, I did what I had initially planned on doing and gave my parents a taste of their own medicine. After promising them that I would do exactly what they had asked of me when they introduced me to their potential investor, I decided to be as blunt as I could and told him the entire story. I started off by telling him that I was thankful to him for fixing the relationship between my parents and me, and when he looked confused, I decided to elaborate and told him how my parents had finally reached out to me after 1 year of not speaking to me, just because they wanted to get an investment from him and bring him on board. So, technically, I had him to thank for all of this. I also explained the rest of the story, about how my parents had given me hope for 4 years and said that they would take care of my college expenses and then turn their backs on me at the very last minute, just because my brother did not get into his dream college and they wanted me to give up on my dream so it wouldn't hurt me. And after that, they cut me out of their lives because I had decided to do what was right for me. After telling him all of this, he and everybody in earshot looked flabbergasted, and most of all, my parents, who had actually gone red in the face and were trying to avoid looking anybody in the eye. After that, I did not have much to do, so I just called a cab and I went back to campus since it was just a 45-minute drive back there. It's been completely chaotic since my parents have been trying to get in touch with me and making several accounts on social media, using different phone numbers and email IDs, just because I blocked their original ones. They are blaming me for ruining their deal since their investor has stopped responding to them after what I said to the party. That's not really what I have a problem with. I'm only here because of what my uncle said. I told him about what I had done days ago, and I thought that he would laugh along with me because I finally got back at my parents for what they had done to me 1 year back. But instead, he did not find it funny in the slightest and said that it was really vindictive and mean of me to do something like that, and believed that I should have just told my parents that I was not interested in helping them out let it be, instead of going out of their way to do something like this. And since then, every time we have spoken, he's been very weird towards me, and I feel bad. So I deferred to most of my parents at work, and after promising them that I would help them out. Update 1. So it's been 1 week since the party, from what I have read. Everybody in the comments is pretty much divided on whether I did the right thing or not, and it has just led to more confusion for me. I've been relying on this thread to help me make a decision, but then I decided that I should just go with what my heart says, and I called my uncle to have a discussion with him. I did not want to speak with him on the phone about something like this, so I asked him if I could visit him if we could speak in person. He agreed, so I went to his house yesterday. Once I was there, it was pretty awkward because we hadn't had a proper conversation in the last 1 week that we were. So when I got there, things were very embarrassed for what had happened. Since he was so nice to me, and I actually valued my parents had been promising me for 4 years that they would help me out. I might not have been as pissed as I was, but they genuinely expected me to give up on my dreams. also told me that I was been treated like I was just decided to make sure that I was messed up and screwed. Now, it's not going to be taken. My uncle only had one thing to say. That was that if I really believed that I had done the right thing, then he had nothing to say to me. I was dumbstruck because I really thought that what I so I told him I was really not speaking to that meant that I would not be taking any financial benefit. It was pretty bold to say, since I did not have any other plan for what I did not able to sort things out. I said that. My uncle seemed to soften up a little and said that it was not necessary for me to get mad. He was just upset that I was probably not the right or ethical thing to do. But I thought that it was necessary for me to do it now that it was done. I was never going to look back again. So we were not able to come to a decision about whether or not I was right. At least we were able to sort out our differences. Now, the problem, like the latest, my parents are still desperately trying to get in touch with me, but I've just been ignoring them. I honestly don't know what to do about that. So I guess I'm just going to have to continue ignoring them until they realize that trying to message me again and again is not going to help their case. Update 2. Hey, so it's been 10 days since the day of the party, and so far, my parents had only been trying to text me and get on my nerves like that, but this evening, they actually showed up at my college to pay me a visit once again. When I told the receptionist I was not willing to go and see them, she told me that they were refusing to leave unless I came down and spoke to them, so that forced me to get out of my room and actually go to them. I was scared that they would embarrass me on campus, so I decided to go to a nearby park. And this time, even Jared told me scary comments that I guess Jared guys haven't spent the last 2 years avoiding. It was obvious that they'd been going to the gym and he had become really rough in just a year because while we used to be almost the same size when I left home, he was really jacked now and was giving me really nasty looks and flexing his muscles. I'm pretty sure he was just there to intimidate me, which was partly hilarious and partly scary because, from the looks of it, I was sure he would definitely be given the opportunity. Thankfully, he did not come down with me. My parents were only there to talk to me about what I had found at the party and said the things that I had said were absolutely not necessary. Taking back what I had said, I meant that I had made it all up so that their reputation would remain intact. They told me that the investor had blocked the
Quit, Ryan!
I made it very clear that I was not going to do anything like that since even they knew that I was speaking the truth. Yet again, they tried to buy me out and said that they would write me a check for whatever amount I demanded if I did what they asked me, but I told them that they couldn't buy everything with money.
Lively times there.
certainly couldn't buy me with money. After saying that to them, when I tried to get up and leave, my dad lost his mind. He literally banged his fist on the table. We're sitting in his lobby at the court and said that I was not allowed to leave until we had this thing sorted out.
Hey, what's up guys? Sean back with another My 600 Pound Fight video, and this was one of the ones that I think you guys pull up this thing is like pretty long. It seems to be like so I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. But I think she's one of the ones that got the highest weight, if I'm not mistaken. She's letting it all hang out here anyway. But she was kind of the most extreme case we're gonna see. And if I remember correctly, it was something to do with guys paying for friggin' meat. It sounds like a hell of a career, but let's check this out. See what we got going on. She's lucky she can just walk at her size, because her stomach's like hitting her damn ankles. I thought she would have been bed down a long time ago. She's lucky she can walk. So Randy is clever. I just needed that. That you know. You can't do it. Maybe it's too bad. I don't make a change now. It's gonna be too late. That's kind of how it goes. You have to change. A lot of people go back to before, and that's why it's like 5% rate, I guess. But if you actually try to change, it's probably never go on the second floor at that time. That's begging for like a friggin' home. It's not hey, do with all
Once I
that
get
junk.
there, that's the point where it's getting hard to look through the door. Mostly because of my stuff. How far away it is.
At 800 plus, she's lucky she can get it. Because, like, you see how she's shaped. It's funny how your body works. It's shaped in different ways. As I'm losing weight, my freaking love it. It's great. But she's lucky she can slide through there anyway.
By the time I try to bathe and stuff, I'm already exhausted. Hurting. It's not a long time since I can stand in the shower.
If you like that, she's sitting on the toilet. I'm down for it. But she basically showered where she shaves. That's crazy. There's no way you're getting clean.
It's getting so hard to keep clean. I've had to go from bathing every day to about every 4 days because I have to work so hard to do it.
Crazy to say
Even
that.
on days when I push myself to do it. Sometimes I thought it was going to stick or something.
Better be careful where you're jamming that damn stick, lady. People will pay good money to see that.
I have to reach and poke and prod at myself.
People YouTube since today are going to be all soldier. Yeah. It's already been here, but alright, you have to go down the ladder, which is good. It's just it's right on it. The giant. Sides and missing chip. The ways weapons Enderman Kingdom, and then you got forced into a war with the giants who for some reason were completely relentless and just either kill or avoid. Yes, personalized and swallowed. If you got invaded, there will be a fog gate there, but nowhere. There's no boss. It's just a reason that person. Thank you, man. Same as well. Additionally, when it says one side for long, it means is that you have approximately 5 minutes to do everything. So, not really now, just sit back. Yes. So the dragon's head is infinite for an ancient dragon selection. 2 more. There's 1 more giant soul. I think that dragon beats. Should check back next time where I'm going through all the enemies.
Even on days when I push myself to do it.
Steven Asante is the most infamous person to ever do 600 mile life. The most requested on this channel for sure. And Steven Asante, you have to mentally prepare for that because I know that this guy is just straight like fuel when it comes to my 600 mile life. But we're gonna get right into it first. Let's get a message from Steven himself.
Steven sends him a message with this message. Nation.
hospital. But after Stephen violated his care plan by ordering pizza, Stephen said the hospital told him
Evicted for pizza?
they were no longer stay. Stephen's father says taking his son home will be a death sentence, so the two men say they'll continue to drive until they find a place that can help them just my I'm not sure what they think. From what I understand, he suffers from severe temporal cognition that make it problem of thinking.
Well, fate just won't let us stay apart. See, the old sod's got your attention. That's been enough. But they say... But... I've been asked. Swear by my honor. Have a great day to you. I've been asked. Swear by my...
I'm not going to hospital right now. Stuff like that. Probably be fine in there. Because I got picked out of the previous hospital. No responsibility. Because they can't help people my size because I'm too morbidly obese.
It's like trying to be you guys said you're okay with that.
See you travel, swear. Just remember.
Ken Hospital has been trying to make the arrangements for transport from either Oklahoma State to Houston and see Dr. Hazardin. Who else will take me anymore? That's my last home.
Yeah, this guy must have done ballet.
The fact that I moved from hospital to hospital. So hopefully if I meet Dr. Nazardin, he can help me.
This is the house where Stephen used to live in when he was at his biggest.
The dishwasher's gonna give somebody gonorrhea. When's the last time you cleaned that thing?
That I had did a bit too.
All this on the map. Because that's what
Somehow something was wrong.
Right.
I guess. It's not here. Here, right here.
It's possible.
Yeah. This is basically stuff.
You're a pro man with that stuff, man. So I'm kind of scared of what you're doing.
So this
You guys see that? There was a bite mark out there. Must not brought any food, huh?
Come again.
use the urinals, go to the bathroom. The only time you went to the regular bathroom was when you had to go to the tool. He used eating this room constantly, and he was sneaking pizza all the time and hiding the evidence. One day,
This guy didn't tiptoe around the house hiding the pizza. Like, how did you catch it?
I happened to open up that closet, and I see 10 piles of empty pizza boxes in here. And he tried to hide them from me. I said,
This guy's playing Dungeons and Domino in his closet in the crust cave.
let me tell you something, it's going to stop. Because I don't want to see that ever again. And then he says to me, like, oh, all right, well, what are you going to get me to eat now? I said, you serious, dude? I said, how do I know you just didn't have a pizza today? And you want something to eat again? But he wanted his way. He used to threaten me and say, look, if I don't eat, I'm going to call the police out.
You know what my mom used to tell me if I said I'd call the cops on her? She'd say, go ahead, I'm going to whoop you till they get here.
I'll tell you, hit me. I said, oh, here you go.
Again.
It's not a book. So he would always try and everyone once. How would you like so it's just the like the silence of the president. That's it's like this rough. It's already over 600 pounds behind the wall. He's going through that. Sleep out.
This guy, I'll call him the Tongan Knight Man, like Stephen the Tiramisu Taylor.
Good friends with mine that I made one the way I get today. Almost all my life. Because my childhood wasn't good, to say the least.
Who's the troll that put a marathon t-shirt on Chucky Kid?
And my parents' relationship was pretty rough. Arguments all the time.
When Stephen and Jessica were small, their mother had a great problem.
At that time, my mom gave my mom the alcohol and us.
That's sad, but Buddy also has ketchup stains on the shirt. You're taking photos.
Our mother always took off at night. She used to go clubbing, drinking. And she used to leave food out for us. while she was never dead. And Steve was very great. And every time I was around, before I could eat anything, I had to tell him to go.
So this lady that was sitting in the hallway, so she would go down to the city. It's my comfort in bad situations, but it didn't feel good. Something that was going on, I mean, I was still really upset because it was very bad.
I was being physically violent, but my mom, she was too busy. So me and my mom came along and yeah. Let's go back to my childhood days. When my mom used to leave me and my brother at home. And they were probably at a time when we were young. My mother abandoned me and my brother. Since she's with now. She used to anything to eat. Still, she would start drinking every single night.
When Jesse was about 9 and Stephen was about 15, their mother, she went out one night and never came home. So Stephen and Justin came to live with me.
That's sad, but if she didn't come home, did she leave out like a big buffet that
My
time?
mom decided to start a new life with a new boyfriend and leave us. So I started eating. And see, that's why I weighed about 250 pounds. That's been like 9 close to 200 pounds.
So little brothers cooking, older brothers playing like no weight, that's wrong with that.
So my mom didn't cook the food at that point.
I tried to keep less food in my house. Stephen wanted to leave. And sometimes Stephen would take a tantrum because he didn't know. He was out of control. I just couldn't control.
Hey, I be somebody that was going Slim Shady or whatever, B Shady, whatever you want to call it.
One time my dad and I got a notification. He hit me and I hit him. He got arrested and he told me to drop the charges and he would get me a large pizza if I did. So I did. Some people.
Yeah, imagine you just go to court and they're like restitution for
Justin just ate and did nothing for a number of years. He ate more. And I was 350 pounds when I was 17 years old. And Justin was 300 pounds and was around 12 years old.
Money. So, good job. And then
everybody's sitting there thinking about like the long-term effects at that point. He's just eating his feelings. He's got the Hershey Hearts and he's eating all.
Stephen was 25 years old.
She offered to pay for me to move to Massachusetts to be close to her. So I did. But I didn't see her once I moved there. I finally gave up on her at that point. So I started to eat more. Dude, that's the feeling. purpose still there.
So your mom told you to come move in with me, son? You showed up and she was just MIA? Did she leave a pizza?
And I ate basically what I love, pizza. At that time, I was eating about 6 large pizzas a day. So I started posting videos online because I was trying to deal with a lot of anger about my life and my mom. Some people did things to get attention.
You're angry, so you jiggle your C cups online. Don't make much sense to me.
And I feel bad about some of them, but when I lose it, I can't control myself. It's over there. If I give up my dad, and I was in the upper 600s. Stephen came back home. He was picking up late. Yeah, because you know, he used to out on the wall.
It's some damn earplugs, because then he can't do anything.
Gave him what he wanted. And I lived at home until just recently. I got this thing in my hospital. Because I just can't walk or get around them. Until the last one kicked me out. And now I have to find a way to go to Houston. Because Dr. Nazareth is the last person that I can go to.
I mean, we could hitchhike, I guess. Those guys don't work out. Maybe we could try.
I'm really glad this is happening. So no matter what, it's about happening.
Let's get down to the coast. So, that's pretty awesome. Patients. Medical transport. Okay. This is a new one.
Today, my dad had medical bags.
My son Steve is transport medical bags, and I'm going to follow. And I said, Justin wants to come with me.
I'm going to Houston to make sure so meet the doctor as well because I want to help him out way too.
That's good. I used to check too. I didn't know they had medical.
But it was a little bit nervous the trip because I was stuck for 29 hours. And the road trip can be risky. There's a lot of things that happen health-wise. So just hope things go smoothly.
Like, they get that break their back.
I've never had to do anything. Myself gets my legs. All the way across the country. That And I still have
Sitting in the back of this fat transport thing.
25 to 30 hours at least. I'm already really hungry, and I need to start eating something from the really fast.
Pizza pimp, we need a happy meal for here.
I'm gonna eat, and someone is going to get me. Thank you. It's almost impossible not to do that. You can't resist the cravings.
You got that. Damn car.
You want to eat every time we pass a place. Because I don't know how long to see. Excuse me. That just hit a big, huge bump and it broke.
Oh, shit. Again, buddy. We were one. Man, but it was like you.
No.
No.
Okay.
But I hope unfortunately.
What is that spare tire? It's right under you. I'm trying to think how to do.
Kind of funny they ask for the spare tire and you're just looking at his stomach hanging around there.
With some support right where he's at. That's all we're going to do. Put that spare tire underneath there.
A spare tire?
To hold that frame up.
Is that even gonna be safe though?
It's better than what you're on right now.
Or
Yeah, we got shearing metal and it was super morally obese.
like stuck in the middle of nowhere on an 8 highway? Maybe. Not safe no more.
Take a chike.
The back end is moving.
Oh,
So airbags, the flaps.
it's all messed up. And now there's something wrong with the truck too.
The windshield.
David, skip that last day.
Some of the blocks was better. They have to give up.
It's getting into that.
Maybe we'll give it overs. Over the fire. Well, this was like, need someone to run these 60 cars.
Yeah, you bypass that tire.
Shut up.
Right here.
It's not that I'm afraid of
Oh, gosh.
Damn it! Four.
Oh, God.
That's the problem. I know.
Everybody acts like they're scared of this guy. What is he? The subway
I'm not surprised that he got it too much. I thought there was two things my brother did that.
We've been traveling about 38 hours right now, and then every 100 miles we had to stop because we want to eat. You know, I understand that, but not every 100 miles. And 100 miles would take 2 hours.
No.
Oh, God.
That's more meals, buddy. I hope you got it the budget plan. Because this is gonna be a billionaire. This big.
Oh, we see it. You're gonna get it that That's $300 right there. Stop. See you.
Big Apple, though. It will last nothing.
Just got the finger for some French fries.
I know you. Actually, came from the trip now. It was
a feeling of certain you can actually perform the craft. And being on the road for a few days means it's heavy. Having all the eggs on this, I haven't paid a whole time.
Justin, when you're ready to talk, let me know. But we get the echo party done, party is free, and don't forget to go home. And we give you your scepters.
Seeker of fire.
Okay.
Coveter of the throne. I am Vendrick. Seeker of fire. What do you seek? Find the crowns. The crowns hold the strength of lords. Seek as befits you, Seeker of fire. I am no king. I was unaware of my own. We are feeble vessels. We would cast aside the prop of life. Are you another such fool? I failed. But...
that feels quiet enough, Dark Souls 2.
Defeated Thunder. Well, several more, but
You need armor? Go ahead. See what I'm... Are you sure? Well, I may so.
Bearer of the until hope